Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. Basically, this is the meaningless recap of all of yesterday's fights in boxing, with obviously a closer look at the Charlo twin pay per view on Showtime Championship Boxing. Um, it's one of those days, man. Boxing is everywhere. And you had a UFC card with Adesanya and Costa. I think that's the cat's name that he beat. But too much of anything, too much of a good thing, can be a bad thing. I had the times wrong actually on the ESPN Plus and the DAZN card. But let's jump into the World Boxing Super Series. Let's start there with Myris Briedis defeating Unel Dorticos. I had Dorticos winning it, but I mentioned that I thought Dorticos was going to figure it out. I expected Briedis to box more, but I thought Dorticos was going to be the bigger guy, which he was, and I just thought he would find a way to create a moment of chaos, and get the knockout, or at least hurt Briedis a couple of times. But shout out to Briedis on a phenomenal boxing job, for cruiserweight. His management of range, him punching at different types of power, him kind of doing that punching on the move thing, not punching with his feet set and turning Dorticos. And I saw very early that Dorticos had no idea of how to get to Briedis with his right hand. That's masterful would be probably be an overstatement, but when you're facing a puncher like that, and a professional opponent at the elite level, at the world champion level, and when you do enough, the sum of your game, when a guy can't touch you for 12 rounds, that's a damn good job by Briedis and his crew. So, that fight was out there, I don't know, around four something, might have been about 5 something Eastern time. Over on ESPN, the Josh Taylor fight with Aponan Khansong, what a disappointment. This is that situation. Well, this not. I'll get to that later. This is that mandatory situation, and Khansong was a guy with I saw him. Like I said, I saw him knock out some Asian cat. There was concerns about what he was. And Taylor is a world class dude. I mean, he's probably I think I had him in my pound for pound. You got to think, man. His last 5 opponents, their combined record is like 120-1 or something. So easy fight for him. He hit him with the left hook. I like that he was a bull. Like, I'm not even gonna let you be comfortable in here. I'm not even gonna allow you to feel that you are on the same level than me. I'm gonna figure you out quickly, and just bulled forward, created a bit of confusion for him, and then hit him with that left hook to the body. Khansong, was it that violent of a shot? Had he never? I don't know, man. It was almost as weird as what we'll get into later in this video. The interesting thing here, I wasn't really aware of it because there was so much going on this weekend and getting into the weigh-ins and whatnot. But Taylor had trouble making weight. Had to take advantage of the 2-hour period and whatnot. And I believe, they didn't mention anything about this in Charlo and Rosario, about the IBF's next day, 10-pound max on rehydration. But apparently Taylor had some issues at the weigh-in, and then even for the IBF the morning of fight day weigh-in. And this is all coming from the manager of Ramirez, Rick Merigian, I think is his name. But he had he had an in-depth or detailed post on Facebook saying that suggesting that alleging that Taylor got some love, he really didn't make weight, so on and so forth. I think he's mentioned that he was 3 pounds over or something, 2 plus pounds over at the first time he was weighed. So anyway, this just shows me that Taylor is a bit of a college frat boy and maybe not that disciplined, with his diet and whatnot. I would imagine for an undisputed fight, him and his team can somehow get it together and not mess up that situation. But that's something that could be watched going into the fight with Jose Ramirez for the undisputed, for all the belts at a super lightweight, something that they've been building towards. Those two cards, the ESPN Plus card and the DAZN card, a lot of just, I had it on but really wasn't paying attention to all of it. There was a decent women's fight on there that I got to go back and check. Adina Kiss and Alish. I wanted to check that out. I've liked what I've seen from some of the European women and whatnot. So then we get into 7 o'clock. The big card starts. I'm very interested to know what the numbers are, what the buy rate is for this. I have no rooting interest in it. I paid for it. A person told me they were going to show up. I was on the fence about what I was going to do, to be honest. I knew I really wanted to watch it, though. But a person told me they were going to come through and would split half of it with me. I went on and bought it. The person never showed up. I was stuck with the full freight. Okay. Another thing that pissed me off, it's a cat that talks a lot of business stuff on Facebook in a boxing forum. Is wrong consistently. And it seemed like this individual watched the fight on a stream. And I can't tell another person how to spend their money, but what I can say is, when it comes to talking about boxing and riding for your particular promotional entity and whatnot, nobody gives a damn about how many Facebook posts you put up about a fighter or a promoter. When people invest money and put these fights together, and then fans don't go out and support with their money and vote with their dollars, it's hard to expect the best to fight the best all the time. How much time do I really put into arguing with some people? Then when I turn around and realize that you're not even really putting your money up, you just out here just a hot bag of air and whatnot. But and then another cat was showing the fight on his live, and I'm just like, again, this is my problem with pay-per-view. Why should I keep spending my money on this stuff when I can go? I don't even have to find a stream and go through any hassle. I can go to Facebook 9 times out of 10, most fights, and just watch it for free. I don't understand. I don't understand us not trying to have some better solution to this whole situation. But anyway, I paid. I watched the fight. Let's start with Jean-Real Casimiro and Duke Micah. That was over within the 3rd round. Casimiro's an exciting guy. I think we really missed out on him not facing. And COVID messed that up, scratched that fight. He was supposed to face Naoya Inoue after April 25th, and that was one of the fights that got scratched because of the COVID pandemic. That could have been a hell of a fight. Casimiro has 4 losses. I just really picked up on him when he stopped Tete. But the way that he beat down Micah, the way that he talks trash, he's brash. He's a real savage. I got in some questions on the post-fight e-conference, and he called the monster. He said he was a Japanese turtle. He's not the monster. He's a Japanese turtle, I think is what he called him. So I don't know where he goes next, but he forked up Duke Micah. I mean, damn. Brandon Figueroa and Vasquez, Damian Vasquez, 122 pound. That one was stopped in the middle of the fight. I was just watching that one. I wrote up 2 of the fights, the Casimiro and then the first Charlo fight. I wrote those up and put those up at BiteDownBoxing.com. And then I just got a little all over the place with this. But Figueroa, man, he's an interesting kid at super bantamweight because he's one of the taller guys. Volume guy, kind of well-rounded. But that's, like I said, that's a very deep division. Angelo Leo, Rais Salim is out there, is an interesting fighter. We know that Fulton is an interesting fighter there. Him and Leo are supposed to get that fight in, beginning of next year. What's his name is there? Danny Roman is there, who didn't look all that great. I'll get to that in just a minute. But it's a lot of people at super bantamweight. So and a lot of and a nice mix of styles. So it'll be interesting. And then some of these guys, Casemiro, Inoue, some of those guys could come up, next year or something. So that's a very interesting division right there. And then let's start with the first co-main event of the night, the main event of the first fight. Of the first portion of the Charlo Twin pay-per-view. Not a bad performance by Jerome, man. I really wasn't that big on Derevyanchenko. Like I said, for me, he's undersized at middleweight. He is. And then also on watching this fight, man, it just kind of drives home the realization that I had last week, that from welterweight, maybe not at super welterweight, but it's still a cluster there. But at welterweight, middleweight, we got a lot of guys who might just always get decisions. There are some levels in there and whatnot, but we might get a lot of those could be great fights. But thinking back to eras when we had, you had a Roy Jones out there, you had these dynamic figures out there. It just seems like, especially at middleweight, Triple G, I'm not too big on anymore, as being a part of the story moving forward. What is Andrade? What exactly is Canelo in terms of, does he even do anything at middleweight? I don't know. So, but Jamal is great size, has all the tools. He just might be a little too A to B for me. Where's that creativity? Good power jab. He's big as hell. He's kind of sound defensively. I just feel like, man, the way that he beat up Derevyanchenko, was there no way to mix in some angles and really go for it? He hurt him, several times. He's a smaller guy. Just the optics alone, this smaller guy standing in front of you. You've got his face all beat up. There was no way to mix it up and get it one knockdown. I know the dude was tough as hell. I know Jamal praised himself for being disciplined and whatnot, sticking to the game plan, getting the win. But I don't know. The next question is, what does this lead to? Where does this leave him? What's next at middleweight? This is why I kind of struggle with this division and being that interested. And I'm not blaming it on anybody in particular. I'm just saying the way that boxing, the way that the business of boxing is set up, what's to get excited about? It looks like his best options are to go up to 168 to see a Caleb Plant or David Benavidez or something else. It's just the way the game looks right now. Let's get into the second. After the intermission, they came in with Daniel Roman and Juan Carlos Payano. I'm a big Daniel Roman fan, man. I didn't think he had a great night. It seemed like he was a step or two behind Payano all night. I got into some questions to him. I thought he was somewhat honest about it. I don't know if that was an 8-4 fight that I watched. Listening to Roman's corner, I believe his trainer's name was something Gonzalez. I thought he kept it a buck. I kind of saw things the way that he saw it and had some concerns on how that was going to turn out. I just didn't see Roman really deliver a great boxing performance, which I've come to expect out of him. I don't know. Interestingly enough, I thought I saw the cat who knocked out, who like upset TJ Doheny. Or Doheny. The guy that Roman fought 2 fights ago before he ran into MJ. The dude's name was like Bellato or something. Ayanat Bellato. He was on the Zone card. He's a kind of a vicious dude, to be honest. I wonder if we'll see more of him on the world stage somehow. Luis Neri and Eran Alameda. That was a pretty good fight, but I was not the greatest showing for Neri. I really wanted to see Neri under the tutelage of Reynoso. And he just seemed to be stuck in first or second gear all night against Alameda, who did some crafty things and made it interesting. But I really expected to see some fireworks from Neri, and I didn't think he really delivered. Okay, getting into this final co-main event, Jerome and Rosario. I did say that I took Jamal. I said by default. But he won, and then I also took Jamel because Rosario reminded me of kind of that Loyola team that was in the March Madness in 2018. Just a college football, a college basketball analogy. But Loyola was out of Chicago. They had the Nun who was a fan of them. They beat. They went to the Final Four. And my concern with Rosario was getting through JRock and now getting into the big stage again in a pay-per-view main event in a unification fight or the unification defense, however you want to look at it. Because it was also a unification fight with him and JRock. JRock had the 2 belts. But I was just wondering, like, what do we know about this dude? How can we count on him? I've seen him against other people. We've seen him knocked out. But I'm supposed to be excited about Rosario for, the main event, of a pay-per-view. That was just a little odd to me. And what happens a lot of times in boxing when these guys come out of nowhere, when they do get in the brightest lights, under the brightest lights, they wilt. And I felt like he wilted. I had a real problem with this fight, man, starting with seeing Jermell walk into the ring at 12:50, man. It's unacceptable for me. I understand that they're going up against a pay-per-view event, a UFC event, but it just kills my energy for the fight. He knocked Rosario down in the second round, I believe. And I don't think Rosario really ever recovered from that. Or was that the first round? And I used to watch Stay Up All Night. I'm a little bad on my facts. He knocked him down early, and then I think he came back and knocked him down in the 5th. But when he was at the end of that round, after the first knockdown, he was in bad shape. You didn't know what corner he was in. I think he was getting hit with some good shots, some power. And I just don't think he responded to it well. He's another guy. I think he had problems getting down to making weight. And then again, we never heard anything about the IBF, the morning weigh-in. He had the WBA and IBF titles. So, and I think this kind of might have led to the weird knockout sequence, which I thought it was pretty dope though. To get the jab up top, he's turning and then places the jab down to the belt line. And then we just have a situation that I've never encountered before. I don't know what to make of it. Was he going into seizures? I see the conspiracies are all out there. Like I said, man, boxing can't win. People put their money up on this, and then we got this very awkward ending. And it's more controversy and BS versus us coming away satisfied as consumers. So I'm going to cut it off there because I already went too long. Peace.